Hello, we are back. Welcome back to Real Pastors. There's Efren. I'm Gary.
I am here. Sorry.
How's it going?
Took a sec to get back. It's going good.
Yeah.
Actually,
Efren,
enjoying this Monday.
I don't know about you, but it is nice to do an episode today and not have graduation Sunday and preaching looming over our shoulders.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Those of you that don't know, Efren and I preached at both of our church campuses yesterday, and we had graduation Sunday because we are youth pastors. And
Yep.
yeah, so
We had to recognize the graduates, get all gifts and certificates and what we're going to say, all that stuff ready.
Mm-hmm.
So now that is all behind us, now we can look forward to a normal summer and more movie talk.
Movie talk.
The exciting part.
Yep. Yeah, because even last week I was like, I'm ready to talk about movies of the decade, but in the back of my mind I was like, graduation preaching.
Yeah.
And now, extreme focus on today's episode.
That's right. In today's episode, we are so ready for it. This is one that, as we were talking about starting the channel, we were very excited to do because we feel obviously very passionate about movies, but we are also just looking forward to it because we're like, man, we have a lot of movies that we feel that no one really appreciates as they should.
Yes.
And then there are some movies that we feel that people are like, this is the gold standard of movies, and we're like, yeah, they may be good. We like some on the list. We actually enjoyed them, but they don't deserve all the hype that they got. So we are excited to talk about that today.
I think that is the key word when we talk about overrated. The key word is hype.
Yes.
And this episode, it might hurt some feelings.
It might.
Just be prepared. If it does, let us know why you feel that way, and we can talk about it.
That's right.
Also, on the other side of things, underrated, underappreciated movies.
Yes. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into this, Gary. What do you think?
Let's go for it.
Into it.
Dive right in.
However, I think we should start with overrated first. Let's start with the negative first, so that way we can end on a high note. So we can end the episode and people be like, I'm in a good mood.
There we go. Yeah, and we're not saying these movies are bad.
No, none at all.
For overrated. Overrated doesn't mean it's bad. I like pretty much, except for two. I like pretty much every movie on this list except for two. They're just overrated. Simple as that.
Yes, too much praise for what we got. It just didn't line up right. So
absolutely.
So we're going to go ahead and start off here
Boom.
with our top 5 most overrated movies. Now, how we're going to do this, not like the top 10, where Gary and I both had a list. Gary and I talked about this ahead of time.
We collaborated.
We said, collectively, here are our 5.
We came up with these lists together, and it wasn't easy.
No.
We went back and forth a little bit, but we both agreed to both of these lists.
That's right. So the first one up is Top Gun. I had to do it to you, Gary.
How dare you, sir?
I had to do it to you. This is something that Gary and I keep going back and forth about, and I just had to do it to you. I had to say it out there. But that is not the first one up.
Thankfully.
Our first movie up.
Still stay here. There it is.
There it is. There's our first movie that we feel is very overrated, The Hurt Locker. Gary, how about you kick us off here on this one?
Okay, so this movie, in my opinion, is extremely overrated. I came into this movie very excited because of the praise and the hype that it was getting. I love war movies. I talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I wanted this to be, with the praise and hype it was getting, I wanted this to be a Saving Private Ryan, a movie like The Kingdom, starring Jamie Foxx, if I've ever seen that. I wanted that to be as good. I love that movie. I wanted that to be this, and it just did not deliver. It was just somewhat just very boring, and I believe it won Best Picture that year. Did it win?
I think it did.
It won
or at least
awards.
Best Director, maybe. I think.
Yeah, and it just I watched it and I came away like, okay, it was good, but it didn't. In no way, shape, or form did it deserve the hype and the praise that it got.
That's right. Yeah, I remember watching this again, going into it like pretty excited. I mean, I thought the acting in it was great. Jeremy Renner, I thought, did a great job, and stuff like that. But it was just one of those movies that, to me, like, I remember watching it and then afterwards just thinking like, okay, well, it's done, I guess. Like, it was just like, I'm just not a huge fan of movies that are just like, here's a day in the life of, like, kind of movie. And this felt a lot like that. Like, you're just following these guys and then it's done. Like, and so like I just really want more like the story and stuff like that. Like, where is this exactly going? Like, I know it does tell the, like, I guess the story of what these guys are going through on a daily basis. But again, it's like, all right, this is cool. I mean, like I said, acting was good and stuff. There's actually some pretty cool scenes in it and things like that. But I just didn't see, like, why is this especially at the time, like, why is this hailed as this golden standard of what war movies should be? I'm like, there are better war movies out there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the cast is really, really good. It did win Best Picture in 2008, along with Best Director. Who I'm a fan of this director, Catherine Bigelow. She directed one of my favorite action movies of all time, Point Break. In the cast, Jeremy Renner and who's the guy that plays Falcon? He's in this too. I can't remember his name.
Mackie, something Mackie.
Yes,
I forget
he's
his.
in this, and I think the ending's really good, but nowhere near did it deserve the hype. I'm interested to see what it beat out for Best Picture that year. Let me get to the Google machine real quick if you guys don't know.
Oh yeah.
2008 Academy Awards nominee. There it is. Thank you, Google. Let's see. The nominees were Michael Clayton, Atonement, No Country for Old Men, There Will Be Blood, and Juno.
Yes. I guess 2000. That makes a little bit more sense. 2008 didn't have a whole lot of competition for it, so I guess that makes a little bit more sense on why he got it. But yeah, so those are kind of our thoughts on Hook. I mean, I know a lot of people who enjoyed this movie, especially war buffs and stuff. Like, they just thought it was really great. But then I can get it. Like, I can get like why people would like it. But like, for me, it was just, I just felt like there were better movies out there to deserve that kind of hype.
Absolutely. I was wrong. Those nominees I just read were for 2008. This one in 2010. Yeah, so.
Get it together, Gary.
I'm sorry.
If you're going to be our fact checker, come on,
hey,
man.
You're right. I apologize. Yeah, I apologize. So, yeah. We'll be back later for those nominees in 2010.
Yeah. All right. So we will get that situated, get that done properly. So as we move on here to the next one. Now this one, I don't know how people are going to feel about this next one, Gary.
Here we go.
So this is actually kind of the rest of the way down, but this one might hurt some feelings. Wizard of Oz. Like, this is a movie that I was forced to watch on multiple occasions in school growing up, because for whatever reason, when it was raining and we couldn't go outside for recess as a kid, or if whatever was going on and it was like, hey, we're going to pop in a movie, this is what the teachers popped in all the dang time. Was Wizard of Oz.
Can I say something extreme?
Go ahead.
You. Those teachers should be fired. They should have lost their jobs. You know what? I'll let you start with this one. I started last time.
No. Please continue about teachers getting fired. Like, I agree. Like, why in the world did they do this to us? Like, it was like, I get, like, at the time, you know, it did great things. But to me, for a movie to be heralded as one of the all-time greats, I feel like it's also got to hold up, like, over time. You know, for instance, like the classic, like, it was still in black and white, and it's in Japanese, The Seven Samurai. Like, I had to watch that for a theology and film class. And like, I was watching, this is a fantastic movie. Like, this thing still holds up, and that thing came out.
Seven Samurai?
Yeah, The Seven Samurai. And it still holds up, and came out in, like, I don't even know, 40s, 50s, I can't remember. But it's way back then. Like, there was no color, still in black and white. And the story of that movie and what it did was so good that A Bug's Life copied it. The Magnificent Seven copied it.
Yes, it did.
You know, like,
great Western, by the way.
So yeah, but I'm just saying. But the story and everything holds up so well that it did that. Wizard of Oz, I didn't feel holds up that well. I mean, it's a musical, so there's certain things that are going to be silly, and I don't fault it for that. But it was like, but even then, as a standard of musicals, like, there are still some that blow it out of the water, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to go too far off the deep end here. I despise this movie. I've hurt people's feelings over and over again. A few months ago, a friend of mine here at the church gave me a stack of movie posters. And I don't mean like little posters, I mean like framed movie posters that his dad had, and this was one of them. And I immediately gave it away to my sister-in-law, who for some reason loves this movie. This movie is terrifying. It is
Yeah.
cruel. It just everything about it is just awful, awful, awful. The beginning with the lady on the bicycle is still haunts me to this day. I hated it as a kid. I hate it as an adult. My kids are not allowed to watch it at my house. My in-laws,
parenting.
I've told them that if my kids will watch this movie, it'll be at their house. It's not allowed in my home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I completely understand that. This is something that's just, I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand. Like, I guess maybe if you saw as a kid, I guess maybe for the older generation, it was a sense of wonder. You know, kind of like when people talk about Star Wars, like, I was there in the theater. There's this new wonder. There's something new. And, like, on that, and, like, I can understand. But at the same time, you got to look back and see, like, but it doesn't hold up. Like, it just, the story doesn't hold up. You know, the way it looks. I mean, obviously, graphics and this, that, and the other isn't going to hold up. But like, even, and then when you just learn about the background of how the story was made, it makes you even more angry about, like, how they mistreated I don't know if this is proper to say, but I guess all the little people, maybe that's the most politically correct term, I guess. But anyways, but how badly they treated them and what the actors had to go through. And I'm just like, man, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, hey, I want to take a quick pause. Oh, do you have anything else about Wizard of Oz first? Go ahead.
I want to have a good day, so I'm not going to say anything else about this movie. Just know, if you're going to subscribe to our channel and be a part of it, thank you. But you will never hear me say anything positive about this movie. I despise it.
Agreed. So I want to bring this up real quick though, because I'm enjoying what's happening in the chat currently. Like, look at this.
Oh.
Like Mason Smith, Daddy Daycare, over under. You know, what do we think? Listen, Mason.
I love Daddy Daycare. I do.
Yeah, listen, I love Daddy Daycare. I personally think it is very underrated. It makes me laugh.
Eddie Murphy is a comedy genius. Everything he does, in my opinion, is absolutely hilarious. When he opens that door to the bathroom, almost, yeah, Norbit, yeah.
Yeah, Norbit's a stretch.
When he opens the bathroom door, and after the kid was in there, he's like, oh, you know, I love Daddy Daycare. I saw that in the theater.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah. So did I. But I love what's going on. Look at this. What? Like, it was like, no, he's like, listen, the Mason top 5, and he's like, nope. Bad movie. Not interesting at all.
Yeah, we go.
And then I love Mason's response here.
There we go.
Well, I bet you don't like Master of Disguise either, huh? Yeah. Shake my head.
Master of Disguise.
I love what's happening.
Yeah. Dana Carvey, Master of Disguise. An amazing Quint from Jaws impersonation in that movie.
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah. Can we go back really quick? I don't want to spend too much more time on this. I just want to read the nominees from that year that the Hurt Locker beat.
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
That's okay. Avatar.
Okay.
Up. Precious, The Blind Side, District 9. District 9.
It beat. I was wondering why District 9 never won anything.
Up in the Air, A Serious Man, and Education. I don't know what that is. Inglourious Bastards, an amazing Brad Pitt role, and The Hurt Locker beat all those movies.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Shame on you, the Academy.
Yeah,
how in the world? That upsets me.
Yep.
Now I'm upset. How?
There's a couple more overrated movies in that nominee, but we'll talk about those at some point. So.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Anyway, I just wanted to go back.
And we got to finish this out, Mason. Yeah, finally, we got your back, Mason. So, yeah, absolutely. Right and then yes, we agree. It beat Up. Are you kidding me?
It did beat Up.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. Up.
It beat Up. It beat District 9, which is it's in here. It's in here.
Yeah. I've never seen that movie. Actually, I need to see it.
District 9.
Yeah.
You shall. I might have to bring it to you.
Yeah, there's some movies in that category that nominations there that I love. Some that I think they're overrated, but there's movies in that it had no business beating.
Right.
It beat another war movie, a fictional war movie at that.
Right.
But no business beating that one. And I'll just leave it at that.
And just for clarification, we're talking big, tall, blue people Avatar.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Okay. So there's that,
right.
and
the next movie.
Let's move on here because we got to go.
For this next movie, I've lost sleep over the fact that we're including this one, but I agree that it should be on this list.
Yes, and so all right. So I think we're done. Here we go.
Oh,
Forrest Gump. Gary, I think you need to start this off because I think I need to collect my thoughts still. But go ahead.
I have a love-hate relationship with this movie. Mm-hmm. I love it for everything Tom Hanks does in it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it for the fact that hate's a strong word. I was drugged to the movie theater as a second grader to see this movie. I had to sit through Forrest Gump as a second grader in a theater. Think about that if you've seen this movie. You're in second grade. Think about what takes place in this movie. It was the worst theater experience I've ever had. I wanted to see Jurassic Park, and I had to go see this movie. I won't get into details of who took me to that movie. Anyway, this movie is, I like I said, there's things I love about it. I quote it often, you know, all the time. However, it does fall in the overrated category because it is not the American masterpiece that people say it is. It's a tale of a man that just experiences things, and you know he is treated so poorly in this movie by some people. But that never gets talked about, and that bothers me. Jenny just dumps on Forrest Gump the entire movie.
Yes,
treats him like pure trash, and then it's just supposed to be okay. I guess that's the heart that he had. But it is overrated. Yeah, I will agree to that. But, you know.
Yeah, I know. I struggle with it, too. I remember watching it. Again, my parents took me as a kid. Whatever. So we went and we watched it. And like you say, you think of the stuff that takes place. And as a kid, I was like, this is boring. But so, of course, a child. Whatever. But, like, even when I grew up and watched this movie, and I watched it again, like, I had kind of the same thoughts you did, where I was like, wait a second. This is a guy who has a mental illness, and everyone is just taking advantage of him. They're treating him like crap. Like you said, Jenny is just in and out of his life as she pleases, and then it's just like, oh yeah, you could have a kid. Like, and just constantly just taking advantage of him. Now, there's the whole, like, you see Forrest's heart, and him trying to, like, you know, his heart for people, and it's all about his story and what he's gone through. But it just kind of felt like, why in the world are we praising this movie when it's just showing, like, a terrible way to treat people with mental illness? And like, and that's where I was just like,
can't sit here.
I know. I was like, I don't know if I can like get behind it. And like some of the stuff, like the jokes and stuff too. And I will never. And listen, I know this is nitpicky, so everyone can make fun of me. I'm totally fine with that. But the fact that he's the fastest guy in the football field, but he doesn't run the ref, I have a huge issue with that.
Okay, yeah, it is overrated, absolutely. Everything you said, and I can't help but have that feeling in my gut when I watch this from that theater experience.
Right.
But I will say, when he finds out, you know, that kid is his son, and he takes a step back, you know, and he says, is he smart or is he? That scene gets to me. And then at the very end when he says, I'll be here when you get back, that gets to me. But yeah. But everything Tom Hanks does in this movie is great. He's my favorite actor of all time.
There's a lot of good things in this movie.
Yeah.
It's just, again, like we said, we're not saying overrated. Like, let's get this out there, because for whatever reason, I think Gary and I, you talked about this before. Whatever reason, people think that either a movie has to be like Citizen Kane, like absolute perfect, or it's trash. And there's no middle ground. And like, that's not the case. Like, especially with Forrest Gump. Like, we're not saying this movie's trash. This movie's good.
No. It is.
We just don't think it deserved the hype it got. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, I put this movie in the same category. This is me personally speaking, and this is going to upset some people too. I would put, like, if I'm taking like music, if I compare this, I would compare this movie to like how I feel about the Beatles or Elvis. You know, I think both of them are overrated. Doesn't mean that they're awful. You know, they have some songs that I'll listen to, especially Elvis. I'll listen to a number of his songs, but I just think it was for the time period. And, you know, so that's what kind of how I feel about this movie. It's a good movie, but it has nowhere near as good as it should be. And the fact that it beat out Shawshank Redemption for Best Picture that year, shame. That bothers me. That right there says why it's overrated.
Yes, that is a shame.
This movie had no business beating Shawshank Redemption.
Or Morgan Freeman, for that matter.
Absolutely.
Although I think Tom Hanks and Morgan Freeman are on the same level. So, like, but still.
That's true.
But still.
Yeah. Uh-oh. We got some trouble in the chat. I knew it. There we go.
I know,
Mason's back at it.
Yeah. Forrest Gump overrated. All credibility for Daddy Daycare. No, don't do that, Mason.
No.
Don't leave us. Yeah. No, Daddy Daycare cannot be in question. It is very underrated. We are with you.
It is very
We are with you. So, look at that. What?
Oh, man. There we go.
I'm saying. Listen, again.
I knew it. I knew when we had this in the list it was going to cause trouble. But hey,
it was.
We're here to be honest, okay?
That's
We're here
right.
to be honest. You
We're here
know,
to be honest with our opinions.
Tom
Please,
Hanks, if you
let
see
us
this,
continue.
I love you. I'm sorry.
Yes, usually anything he touches is gold. Turner and Hooch, for instance.
Yes.
There's one.
Is
Now
not
there's a
your room.
movie.
Hey, you know what? I don't want to get
Just
too
you
much.
saying that just makes me laugh.
You know what a good Tom Hanks movie is? The Burbs. Remember that movie from the 80s?
I don't think I remember seeing
80s
that
Tom
one.
Hanks. I remember that. I liked that.
Is that the one where everyone was crazy and murdering people? Is that one?
No, I don't think so. it's about his
Oh,
neighborhood.
okay. Then not.
Yeah.
Then not. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
There was
We'll
one
do a
that was
Tom
crazy.
Hanks episode, and we'll do
All
a
right.
deep dive in there.
So, all right. So here's our next one, and this one's usually like 50-50 on what people think. So this may not cause that much trouble, but the big tall blue people Avatar.
Yep, Avatar.
This one we think is overrated, and like I remember. Okay, I'm about to tell a little backstory on this one. So we had friends of ours, like Katie and I, when we were living at on campus at the college, and I was still going to college. And our neighbors on there, they were like, "Hey, let's go hang out. Let's go to the movies." Like, all right, cool. And he's like, "All right, hey, let's go watch Avatar." And like, I hadn't watched it to this point because I already knew what the story was about, and I was just like, I don't think this is going to be a good movie, and I was right for my reasons, and I'll explain it in a second. But we go, and then like we're sitting there, and then probably like 20-30 minutes in, is like my friend leans over to me and he goes, "Hey, where's Aang?" And I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "That's not this movie." He's like, "Wait, I thought this movie was about Aang." Like no, this is a totally different movie. It says Avatar. And I'm like, "No, this is a totally." He's like, "Oh man," I was like, "Really? Did you just drag me here because you thought this was a totally different movie?"
Oh, that's
Come on, man.
Funny. That is so funny.
And so, but we watch it, and like, listen, this movie visually is gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Like what he did, and especially for like 3D. Like this was one that's like, listen, you have to watch it in 3D, and you have to enjoy like visually what it is. But what drove me nuts was that it was the story was nothing new. It was the typical like white man comes in, destroys everything. Humanity is the problem. We're the disease. Like humanity sucks. Like colonization. Like all the environmentalists and I hate white people stuff. That's already been done. And I was like, so why are we heralding this as this huge like if you want to say, check out this new gold standard of visuals and of 3D and stuff like that, absolutely. Because visually this movie was great, but everything else, I'm just like, come on.
And I think that's what makes the movie overrated because people focus so much on that they forget. It's like that. In my opinion, I think you agree. It can only carry the visuals and stuff can only carry a movie so far. The story is what matters.
Right.
And you're right. I like this movie better when it was called Fern Gully. You know, I mean, I did, and my wife and I
bring up Fern Gully.
I mean, I'm telling you, this is Fern Gully. You know, part 2. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife and I went to see this movie when we were dating, and I remember I wanted to go see it because it looks good. It's in 3D, it'd be fun. And I remember halfway through, I had the worst migraine, and it just would never. And you know, Mason brings up in the chat here, says it takes 3 hours of. You know, I just felt like it would not end. You know, I looked at Megan and I was like, I just don't think this movie's ever going to end.
Right.
And it was the same recycled story. You know, and it just and then it got praised. It was nominated for Best Picture, as we just saw, and it just was not nearly worth all the hype.
Yeah.
And
I think it won for visuals, which I mean, granted, which it should have gotten. I think it won for that. I think it won for score as well, which honestly, like, I don't remember much of the score, so I don't know if it was granted or not. But you know, Mason says I don't think Avatar's loved enough to make this list. But which is ironic because I didn't think a lot of people loved it either. But like when I ask people, hey, what are some of your favorite movies? This movie always ends up in their list, and I'm always like, really? But I guess I shouldn't be surprised because it held the top spot until Endgame took it down.
It did.
And even Endgame had to take it down, like, with having that little mini second re-release thing.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm a big James Cameron fan, and I appreciate him having. He has the right and he has earned the credibility to make passion projects all he wants. But James Cameron, please don't give us more Avatars.
Oh, it's coming.
I know it is. Fix Terminator. Give us another Aliens movie. Do something or do another like True Lies if you want, but come on, man, we don't need another Avatar.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, he's got a message he wants to send out, and that's why he wants to do these things. At least that's what it seems like. Obviously, we don't know him.
We don't know him, but he can do what he wants.
But it is. But listen, if you want to watch this movie and be like, I just want to see, how beautiful it is, and even the cinematography, and it's like actually really good for considering like what they did and stuff like that. I mean, again, it has really good stuff in it, but overall, the hype, we just didn't feel, it matched up with it. So,
I was exhausted leaving the theater after watching this movie. My head was hurting so bad. I was just like, man.
Yeah. Ugh. All right. So here's our last overrated, and and this one hurts me a little bit, but that's all right. Here's our last overrated, Black Panther, and you want me to go ahead and go on this one to get it out of the way, or do you want to start it?
Yeah, you go ahead and start this one.
All right, fine. So Black Panther, honestly, like, let me tell you, when I first heard Black Panther was coming to the MCU, I was very excited because I felt like Black Panther was a character that did not get any love, like through the movies, and people didn't know a lot about him. And so I was very excited for this movie. It came out. Honestly, I really liked this movie. It was gorgeous. Story was very Lion King, all right, like, and stuff like that, which is fine. But there's Andy Serkis was great in it for the time that he was in it. This has one of my favorite, the favorite techniques of one-shot scenes when they had in the club or whatever. So like, there's a lot good about this. But I guess here's where I ended up putting it on the list I agreed to put on the list, is that this came out the same year as Avengers: Infinity War.
Yes, it did.
And then this was what won, the Oscar that year. And this is what won the awards and stuff. And Infinity War got nothing. Like this, like Black Panther got best visual effects, and I'm like, Infinity War had way better effects. There were some scenes, but like especially at the end where he was fighting Killmonger, when he was fighting him, like it was like, wow, it kind of looked a little bit like the old Spider-Man movies where you can tell the whole body was CG and stuff like that. And I was like, man, like Infinity War had some better graphics overall. So how did this win? And I felt like it was. There's a more political reason. We all know what it is on why this movie won and got more hype. Like, thing is, like, it's great. Like, I understand everyone saying, well, what was great about this is, like, now you have, young black kids and black girls and stuff that, like, now they have someone to look up to. Now they have someone that looks like them on screen that they can look up to and say, like, hey, like, I can be this. And, like, instead of just a bunch of, white superheroes. So, like, I get a lot of that stuff. But I just thought Infinity War was a better movie, but this got more hype than Infinity. Even though Infinity War got a lot of hype, like, let's not act like Infinity War got nothing.
Yeah.
But I just remember at the time when it came for awards and stuff like that, like, people were just hailing this as the best comic book movie ever, and I'm like, it's not the best comic book movie ever.
And what you said right there at the end is why I agreed to have this on this list, because I went to see it in a theater. I thought it was really good. I liked it a lot. I'm a big Michael B. Jordan fan.
He did so good in
He
this.
was great in this movie. Probably the first time he's played a villain, I think, right?
Yes, I think so.
But I was told it was the best superhero movie of all time.
Yes.
And no. And I was expecting to see something just like, epic and just game changing, and it's just not that, and that's okay. Not everything has to be that.
Agreed.
We go to the movies to have fun and to experience a great story, and this delivered on that. But not everything, like you said earlier, has to be life changing. And but it's okay to be just a really good movie, and that's what this is. And
it was a really fun movie. Like I said, I liked it a lot. I'm pretty sure I saw it in this theater twice. And then when it came out on Blu-ray, I bought it. Like, it's on the shelf. Like, this is, like, it was a really good movie. It just, like, I get, that's the thing. It's like, it just wasn't the best comic book movie like people were saying that it was.
I saw it in the theater. I've rewatched it since it came out. I do consider it shelf worthy. I just haven't bought it yet. It'll be in the Marvel collection soon at some point. But I wasn't running to Target or Best Buy the day it came out like I was Infinity War or Endgame or stuff like that.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So before we hit into our most underrated movies, the ones that we feel are very underrated, Gary, I guess you have a shout out here and a little something to show us.
Yeah. So Efren and I were thinking every now and then we could show something from our Blu-ray collection because we are, as you can see behind Efren there, we are big fans of physical media and especially movies. So real quick, I wanted to bring in something from my collection that I consider kind of an honorable mention for underrated movies, and it is Reign Over Me, starring Adam Sandler and Don Cheadle.
I never saw that one. Tell me.
It is very good, very underrated. I'm a big Adam Sandler fan, Efren, as you know, and I feel like he does not get enough credit for how good of an actor he can be when he wants to be. He's not just a guy.
That's the key, when he wants to be.
When he wants to be, and he absolutely delivers in this movie. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend check it out. It is it's a very deep movie, but he is just spectacular in this movie. I've never understood why it doesn't get enough, doesn't get talked about. It came out in 2006. Him and Don Cheadle are just incredible in this movie. It's a companion piece about two good friends in New York City. One of them lost their family in 9/11, and this is the story of how he deals with it, pretty much. So check it out. Reign Over Me, very underrated. And Sandler, he can deliver he has the acting chops when he wants to be.
When he wants to be.
When he wants to be.
All right. Thank you for that, Gary, for our
You're
quick
welcome.
break.
That was from my collection.
Boom. So here we go. Getting into now top 5 most underrated movies. Ended on a high note. We'll see what some of you guys think, and maybe you agree or disagree. But hey, that's all right, because like we always say, we're just talking movies.
We're just talking, and if
take
there's
anything
something
seriously
that is not on our list today that you think should be, what is your list? Leave in the comments, the chat.
That's right. So, all right. So first up, I think I'm going to change the order here a little bit, Gary. I think we're going to go ahead and bring this up and get this one out of the way, and because I kind of want to talk about it. But notice here, Batman vs Superman, the real edition, as we call it, the Ultimate Edition. That's why this poster's up there and not the classic, the Ultimate Edition. And so I'll go first because I'll probably be shorter on this because Gary's got plenty to say.
I will try to keep it short.
You'll try to keep it short. So Batman vs Superman, I went with Mason, who's been talking on here. He went with me to go watch this in the theater. And there was some really cool stuff on it, obviously, but I was like, yeah, I liked it. It was good. And Mason was kind of like, yeah, but at the same time, it was like there was a lot of wrong with it. Like there was a lot of holes. There's a lot of things that weren't explained. And it was just like, and I'm just like, I just wonder, like, what happened? And then I started hearing stories of, well, the studio's like, no one wants to watch a 3-hour movie, a comic book movie. So we got to cut some stuff. And then so when it comes out for the DVD release, they come out with the Ultimate Edition, the Zack Snyder's original cut, which that's why everyone wants to see the Justice League cut, by the way. It comes out with this cut. This movie's 3 hours long. And we see why this thing ends up not making sense on the theatrical version. Because everything he cut out was all the plot points. Yep. And of course, like every movie has holes, but like all the plot points, all the important conversations that we needed to know, like why did Superman hate Batman all of a sudden? We had no idea in the theatrical cut. But in the Ultimate Edition, you actually see him being a journalist and talking and wondering, and hearing stories on why people are afraid of Batman. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, now it makes sense why Superman wants to take him out. Like, you see that. You see more of the backstory of Lex Luthor's whole plan and stuff like that. I mean, some things about it are still kind of like Doomsday. We could have waited, guys. We could have waited. But if you were able to watch the Ultimate Edition, like if you're able to get past theatrical and watch the Ultimate Edition, people we've done this. I've had people over, hey, just watch this with us. Just watch this version and then let me know. And usually, I'm pretty sure everyone so far has been like, that movie was way better than what I saw in the theater. It's like, yes, exactly. And the reason why I consider it underrated is because most people don't know about this version. A lot of people do, like fans and stuff like that. That's why so many fans are like, give us a Snyder Cut. We want to see what he would have done because Batman vs Superman, it was right. So, but there's still a lot of like casual fans, I would say, or people who are just kind of in and out on comic book movies that were like don't know about it. So it's like now's the time to let people know.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep this short. I love this movie. I absolutely love it. It was so close to being in my top 10 movies of the decade a few weeks ago. I also saw it in the theater and left feeling not really knowing what to think because I was bothered by a lot of stuff. I think there's two reasons why this movie is underrated and often, I don't like saying this, misunderstood. I think the title is part of the issue. Because I think it tried to be too much. Either you can be Batman versus Superman or you can be Dawn of Justice. But it tried to be both. And I think it should have, and I think some people go in and they expect to see Batman versus Superman, and we get that, but it's not all you get. You also get Dawn of Justice, the beginning of the Justice League. And I think that is what is happening with this movie. It is establishing this new, what is about to happen. And I think people forget that, and they get wrapped up in, all that. But the Ultimate Edition just brings it all, you see the full story. And it makes it clear. And I get upset when people bash this movie because you hear things like, why is Batman so angry? He doesn't kill people. Well, the movie tells you over and over again why he is angry. This is not...
The Ultimate Edition tells you.
Yes, the Ultimate Edition.
Not the theatrical version.
The scene where the guy's, scraping off the lottery ticket, and he says there's a mean in him, and he is angry and he is hunting. One of my favorite quotes is, that's how it starts. The fever, the rage, where that turns good men cruel. That Alfred says to Bruce Wayne. He and the whole story. It's just a very and I just wish more people would give this edition the chance, a chance, and just really take time to watch it and listen to the dialogue, listen to what Zack Snyder is trying to say with this movie. Because when you really look at it that way, it is a fantastic movie, and honestly, probably my favorite on-screen version of Batman.
We did get one of the best Batman scenes ever.
We did. The warehouse scene just nails it. And there will be a day on this channel, I don't know when, where I sit here with this microphone, I look into this camera, and I talk about this movie for a long, long time. Today's not the day, but it definitely belongs on the list of underrated and underappreciated Batman vs. Superman, the Ultimate Edition, only edition. Yeah.
I will say this, though, for clarification. If you feel that Wonder Woman and Justice League was rushed, if you feel Doomsday was just stuffed in there, you're still going to feel that way.
You are, and I agree with that. I do. I agree with that.
Yeah, and because there is some of that where it's like you shouldn't have done that, but it makes a lot more sense, and it is a much better movie, 3 hours long. And it is.
Yes.
It's 3 hours. So,
it is 3 hours. Yeah.
Totally worth it. I want to throw a shout out here to Will. He says, I'm going to be mad if Journey to the Center of the Earth isn't on the list. Which version? Like, we're talking about the Rock version? Is it the Rock? Didn't The Rock do a version of it?
The Rock did a version, and Brendan Fraser did a version.
Yes, Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
I've seen neither.
So, I saw the Brendan Fraser one, and I remember just kind of like, all right, this is cute. Like, just thinking it was hilarious. I have not seen the Rock version, though.
I haven't either.
Which is weird, because usually anything with the Rock, like, I usually go see. So here we go. Pop's here. Has anyone seen Tom Hanks in Road to Perdition? Have you seen that? I haven't seen that.
I saw it a long time ago. Good movie.
Yeah.
Good movie. It's on Netflix now.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. Saw it a long time ago. Really good cast.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, I'm about to check that out. I've actually never seen that one.
It's one of Paul Newman's last movies.
Oh, okay. All right, so here's the next one. I don't know. People might make fun of us for this one, but that's okay. The original 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Gary, go ahead and start us off, my man.
This movie is... we'll be talking about this a lot because I think Efren and I both... This movie was big in our childhood. I watched this movie over and over again as a kid, and it is surprisingly... You would think something you watched as a 4 or 5-year-old, you watch as a 30-year-old, it wouldn't translate. Just, oh, yeah, it's nostalgic. It still holds up. It's still a really good movie. Yeah. And I think I don't understand why it doesn't get put in the conversation of 1989's Batman, Christopher Reeve's Superman. People talk about those comic book movies, those superhero movies. This belongs in that conversation because this is a really good movie and it's quotable. I know every word to this movie because I watched it so much as a kid. I remember the Pizza Hut commercial that came on the VHS before this movie came on. I play right field. I'm not gonna sing. Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds. Pork rind. I mean, we could just go on and on and on. The story's really good. The music, it's just got such a shredder, and then the dum 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 dum. You know what I mean? And it's just like, oh, I love this movie. Yes. I love it so much.
Yes. So here it is already. Efren put TNT on the list. Shocker. Yes, Mason. Listen, I'm only putting this one because here's part of the reason why I think this movie doesn't get the love it deserves is because everyone remembers the second one. With Ninja Rap. And that one is
Vanilla
like,
Ice.
obviously as a kid I loved it. Looking
Yeah.
at it now as an adult, I'm like, this movie's terrible.
That one
Like,
it
the
doesn't
second
translate
one is really
like this one.
bad.
Yeah,
no,
is.
it doesn't. And I think
Yeah.
this one, I think people forget about this one because at the time, like, granted, I had to learn about it later because as a kid I didn't know this. But at the time, this movie came out, and I'm pretty sure Kevin Eastman was very involved with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie was made like with his original vision of Ninja Turtles, along with Peter Lard and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was very involved. So we had like really good martial arts. He actually used the weapons like actual ninjas, like things like that, like it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
And so we saw all that action, but then apparently there was an uproar of back in the day Karens who were just like, this movie's way too violent for my kids. Why was there, because there's like 2 cuss words in it. Why are there cuss words in it? Like it needs to be more campy and fun, like the cartoon and stuff like
Sorry
that.
for being realistic, Karen.
Yeah, exactly. So then a lot of people are just like, so then they did Ninja Turtles 2, which yeah, it was it was everything like the cartoon. But like the cartoon, again, as an old, I remember as a teenager going back watching it and being like, oh, this movie's really
Yeah.
bad. This doesn't hold up. And then I just go back and watch this one instead.
Yeah.
Because this one's like, obviously Jim Henson with the puppets and the mask and stuff, actual martial artists inside the turtle costumes. Like everything just holds up. Like no CG, no nothing. And these people are actually fighting and stuff. So I just thought, again, like you said, it still holds up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was still really, really good. And
The
people,
fight on the rooftop at the end.
oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good with that.
Casey
I mean,
Jones
even-
with the trash truck. Whoops.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, I get it. And then, but like even like the fight in at April's house and stuff, like that whole scene, like it was just really good. It has the heart, like when they go out to the farm ranch thing, and they're trying to recover from their first defeat. They've lost Splinter,
Yes.
and you really start digging into each turtle's like character flaws and the struggles that they're going through and stuff. So that's why that's the kind of stuff that makes a movie like this hold up.
Yeah.
And then of course after that they just decided to abandon good storytelling and character development, and they made the other 2 movies unfortunately.
Well,
Fortunate for kids like me at the time who loved it.
Yeah.
Unfortunate adult me because now it's
Yes.
like we haven't had a good Turtles movie since.
I haven't watched Turtles 2 or 3 in years, but I'll watch this one at least a couple times a year.
Yeah.
But Turtles 3 did give us one of the greatest things that we hockey.
Yeah, hockey.
Hockey. But yeah, this movie is so underrated. It's so good. Oh man.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched it in a while, if you haven't watched it since you were a kid, check it out. I think it's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. The first 2 are.
Yeah,
Or I think
give
all
it-
3 are.
yeah.
Don't worry about the other 2. It's on
Yeah.
Netflix. The first one's
Watch
on
this
Netflix.
one. It surprisingly holds up really well.
Is that a Jose Canseco bat? Please tell me you didn't pay money for this.
Cricket? Don't nobody know nothing about cricket.
Oh, so good. All right. So let's move
One
on
more
here.
thing.
Oh, yes.
One more thing. Shout out to my hometown. Majority of this movie was filmed in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Oh, look at that.
And the farmhouse they go to is 20 minutes from my dad's house.
Oh.
Yep.
You know who else is from Wilmington? Michael Jordan,
The man. Yes, he
the
is.
man. And this movie was filmed in Wilmington. Coincidence?
I think not.
There it is. All right. So, yes, I'm getting silly defending my Ninja Turtles. But all right. So, here's the next one up. The Prestige.
Prestige. Oh, look at that poster. Nice.
Yes, The Prestige. Yeah, I told you how to find a cool one out there. So this is one of Christopher Nolan's masterpieces. Christopher Nolan does a lot of good movies. Some movies don't care for as much, but Christopher Nolan usually gives us gold. And The Prestige, this movie when it came out, I remember. I didn't see it in the theater because I remember the trailer. I was just like, "What's going on?" And like magicians or something. Okay, whatever. Ended up renting it. I think my dad rented it and we watched it together. I think is what it was, and so we rented and watched it, and then I loved it. And this was a movie that obviously did not get the hype it deserved, obviously because it's on the list.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people overlooked it. I'm pretty sure there were other movies that overshadowed it, and I think that was the problem. I think it came out in a very busy summer.
Mm-hmm.
I should have looked that up beforehand to see why. But it was just one of those, and it happens from time to time. Like a really good movie comes out, you have a very busy summer, and then some movies like The Prestige, flies under the radar. And I think it's one of those things. Like I've never heard anyone who saw this movie who said it was bad. It's more about finding people who's actually seen this movie.
Yeah. Or even heard of it.
Or even heard of it, exactly. And that's more so why it's underrated. But you have Christian Bale and you have Hugh Jackman, who are the main stars of this movie, and they're 2 magicians who they work together, and then as magician assistants, and then Hugh Jackman's wife dies in an accident, and then he gets angry at Christian Bale. They have a fight, and they try to start their own magic show, and they try to outdo each other. But there were just a lot of surprises and twists on how all that pans out, and even the ending just ends up being very twisty, and you just don't see it coming, and which is funny because when you watch it the second time, you realize they told us what the ending is, but they but it is, there it is. See, I haven't even heard of Prestige. See, that is why. Yeah. That is more, and that's the thing. It just, most people have never even heard of it, but everyone we know who's seen it love it. So
I've never heard anyone say. It's either what you said. I haven't heard of it, I haven't seen it, or I loved it. And this is a phenomenal movie. Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman, Christopher Nolan. I mean,
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. I don't know why this doesn't get more consideration when people talk about Christopher Nolan. But you said it. This movie is a masterpiece.
People forget about it. I mean, like you said, like Will on there. He's like, I haven't heard of it. Like, I think that's why. I really think that's why. Because now, when people think Christopher Nolan, they think the Dark Knight trilogy. They'll think Dunkirk, Interstellar, Inception. They think all that. It's like, but this came out. I think this came out after Batman Begins, but before the Dark Knight.
It did.
I think, yeah. So it still wasn't like, he still wasn't Christopher Nolan. Like, he wasn't Christopher Nolan until the Dark Knight came out.
Yeah.
So
it deserves to be in the conversation, and that's why it's so underrated.
Yeah, and it's hard to say more about it because it's like you just have to watch it.
Yep.
So
check it out.
Yeah, check it out. It is very much worth your time.
Would we say, if this was a review of that, would we say this would get 5 Hail Marys?
Oh yeah, this gets 5 Hail Marys.
Same.
Absolutely. I would throw this under that, and we try not to give those out. It's all willy nilly.
Oh yeah.
All right. So here's our next one up. Unbreakable. Go ahead, Gary. Start us off.
Pretty much everything you just said about The Prestige, this movie right here. It doesn't get talked about. Everyone who has seen it and has heard of it absolutely loves it. But it gets forgotten in the M. Night Shyamalan list of movies. People talk about Signs, Sixth Sense, all those movies, the bad movies he did. But he made a masterpiece, and I said it. I did. And it's right there. Came out after The Sixth Sense, and people wanted this to be The Sixth Sense.
Yes.
That's because it wasn't. It was a whole nother movie, and people just kind of like,
But it still had its twist, though.
It had its twist.
It just wasn't the same kind of twist.
It wasn't. Yeah, exactly. And the whole deal of what if Superman was real, and he lived here, but he didn't know he was Superman. That's the story. And then there's the whole opposite side of that with Samuel L. Jackson. Of him trying to find that Superman. The unbreakable guy versus Mr. Glass.
Yes.
Or Elijah. And
Elijah.
Unbreakable is awesome. Great movie.
Yeah, I remember going to watch this just because I love The Sixth Sense. And I was like, this director does the kind of movies I like after seeing The Sixth Sense. I go and see Unbreakable, having no idea, of course, because that's how M. Night is. Like, you have no idea what you're getting into, really. No. So we go in, we watch it, and I love it because, of course, right off the bat, he gets a comic book. He studies comic books. That's Elijah, Samuel L. Jackson's character. He's studying the comic books. And then he comes to the conclusion, like, wait a second, what if comic books are just the current legends and myths of today? Because he was saying since man has been communicating, we've had stories and legends that are being told verbally, and you have pictures on caves, on walls in caves and hieroglyphs and stuff like that. There's always these stories that are being told, and yes, some of them are legends and are too fantastic or myths, but every legend and myth has a seed of truth in it. So he was looking for the seed of truth in all these comic books. And so that's why he was looking for, maybe there are people who can do things that other people can't. Like, he never really says, I don't think he really says there's superhero strength or anything like that, but he's like, there are things that people can do that other people can't. He says that a lot. And so he's on search for it, and then he finds Bruce Willis's character, who there was a train wreck, and he's the only one who survived, and he survived without a scratch. And thus the story begins. And this is also just an underrated comic book movie, really.
Oh yeah. And the dialogue in this movie is fantastic. The conversations between Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis, those two have such amazing chemistry. You know, I
Oh,
wish they
yeah.
would make more movies together. And you know, the scene where the doctor is telling Bruce Willis that he's the only survivor, you know, and how that is just like so great. You know, if you've never seen Unbreakable, take the time, watch it, pay attention to it, take it all in, because it is a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it is. He does a good job with this, and again, a lot of suspense building. You're trying to figure out what's coming next. What's he going to think about? Like even what's happening with his family, with his kid. Like, what is Elijah really up to? Like, you have all these kinds of questions.
Yeah.
And
Samuel L. Jackson kind of he's awesome, don't get me wrong, but he always gets slumped into, he's the guy that yells, you know, and uses the F word a lot. But he also has roles like this where he's, you know, he's just kind of looming around, reserved, and he's just,
yeah, and he does a great job. So that's another one. But this is also another one I feel like kind of flew under the radar, though.
It did.
Because a lot of people, again, a lot like Prestige, people are like, Unbreakable. Which one was that one again? Like, people just forget about it. So, all right, so here's our last one. And this is a movie, Book of Eli.
Book of Eli.
Now, there is a lot of movies that Denzel Washington does that's great. There are some that Gary and I were talking about, like, oh, yeah, there are some that were kind of a stinker.
Yeah.
But Book of Eli, like, this movie, I don't know why more people haven't seen it. I'm not sure. Maybe it was the trailer. I think it had a bad marketing, maybe, at the time.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Maybe you can remind me. But when you watch this movie, I mean, Book of Eli, Denzel Washington, he's a blind man, and he's on a mission. And as he's on a mission, he's carrying a Bible, and then he's trying to carry this Bible to essentially Alcatraz, isn't it? Is that where it ends up going? But he has to go cross country.
It's going cross country. It's the last known Bible. It's the last printed Bible.
Yes,
And
exactly.
It's apocalyptic.
And then, you know, Gary Oldman is in this, who's another phenomenal actor. Also has Mila Kunis, right, who helps out Eli. So I mean, it's got a good cast, and this is just movie. It's very intense, and it's apocalyptic. He's trying to survive, and he's like, I have to get this. I have to get the Bible there. I have the last one, and then people are trying to take the Bible because they want to, you know, use it for their own good and their own power. Obviously for all the wrong reasons, but it has a lot to say just about religion, scripture, like the importance of the Bible, and how people can take it and use it however they want. So you got to be careful on how to use it. Like, there's just a lot that's being said to this, and I'm glad to see this. I'm glad to say yes. Book of Eli, so good. I guess you already showed him up there. Yes, credibility is back. Y'all right. We're back on track with Mason. Yes. Yeah, even Will down there, we show Will's, you know, Will put up there.
Yeah, love this movie.
He loves this movie as well. And this is one that's fun. I'm glad to see we got people in the chat who are like, yes, I've seen it. I love it. So we're on the same boat. Yes, I absolutely love it. Because this is another one, like Prestige. Never heard of it, or I've seen it and I love it. Book of Eli.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone, the same thing. These last three, this movie it was one of the first Blu-rays I ever bought when I got a Blu-ray player. And Denzel Washington is spectacular in this movie. Gary Oldman plays a great villain. And the whole story of, you know, and it really makes you think, okay, if there was no technology, if the world was, you know, wiped out and we were, you know, for everything, and there was one Bible left, what would we do? You know, and he has the message to get across country, and people are trying to get it from him, and it's such a creative and interesting story. It's a new take because, you know, movies have told these apocalyptic stories over and over again. You know, there's like 4 Mad Max movies. You know, we have things like Terminator, stuff like that. But this is like, it really breaks down like in a realistic way, like how would the world look if God forbid something like this happened. And and the way Denzel portrays this character is just amazing. It's got one of my favorite quotes when he's talking to Mila Kunis. He says a quote, and she says, "Is that from the book?" He goes, "No, that's from Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison." You know, I love that part. Great.
But I love it. But even this like has a twist and stuff to it. But then when you see it, you kind of like, oh, I can't believe I didn't notice this. You know, and but it was good. But it was just really great. I mean, going through here, look at this great movie, from Alex there. You know, sees again people who have seen it. Love it. Look at Will. When you watch this movie for the first time, it's great, and you come back and watch it again, it's even better.
Yes.
Yes.
And the second
Absolutely.
viewing, you appreciate Denzel's acting even more. The second viewing. Not
Yes,
as-
you
that-
do.
that.
Especially when you know everything that already happened, and you're like, "Wow!" Like how
The
did
way he
pull that
carries
off?
himself is like, oh, okay, I see
Yes.
Denzel. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So there's that there. There's our top 5 of what we feel are underrated movie. Hey, look, Mason here. We need Hot Rod up there.
Oh, man. I love,
May not
I
be
love
Pastor
Hot
Group.
Rod.
Cinematography second.
Yeah.
Yeah, cinematography is great. Dude, we love Hot Rod.
I love
Hot Rod is Hot Rod is so
Sing
good.
What's weird? It's like, I've been drinking green tea all day.
Yeah. And of course, hi, I'm Rod. I like to party. No, I like to.
You don't
man.
party. Hey guys, I found some
I'm the only
fireworks
one
in
who
the
parties.
I found some fireworks in the bathroom. Would you like to
Yeah.
light them off?
That's right.
Yeah. Oh man, Hot Rod's great.
Yeah. So, yeah. So Hot Rod is great. That is honestly, Hot Rod is underrated too. Like we got to give that shout out there. Hot Rod is a very
Hot Rod,
underrated
yeah.
movie.
Thank
I
you,
think
Mason.
people
Thank you,
just.
Mason.
I think people just wrote it off because they're like, oh, another Nacho Libre, Napoleon Dynamite kind of feel. I think people wrote it off. But if you actually watched it, that movie's hilarious.
I love when he jumps over and just lands in the pool.
Yes.
You missed the jump, totally landed it. Oh man! So that movie has a special place in my heart because one of my first retail jobs, it had just come out on DVD, and me and the guys in the store, we just walked around and quoting that movie 24/7. You know,
Yeah.
have you had your green tea today? That's what we say. You know. But,
Yes. Oh, very, very quotable.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
I remember like Mason, he puts that up there. Him and Jack was another one, man. They were quoting that movie. They quoted quite a bit, but it was always fit. It was great, and I
Yep.
loved it. It was
absolutely.
it was pretty hilarious. It's like, yeah, it is one of those things. You know, we try to keep it real. Like, you know, yeah, that's not a movie you want your kids watching. You know?
No, there's
Like
some
none
things.
at all. I mean, older teenagers are fine. You
Yeah.
know, follow that PG-13 guidance on that
Mm-hmm.
one. You know, each parent knows their kids best, but definitely don't watch it like as a family if you have young kids.
No.
My girls will not be watching it anytime soon. They got a while.
Same
So
with
they-
my two. Same with my two. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mason, thank you for bringing up Hot Rod. I haven't talked about that movie in a long time.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad we got to talk about that movie today. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's
And
so
there's an
good.
example of the comments in the chat. If something comes to mind you think's underrated, overrated, let us
That's
know.
right.
We'll talk
Yeah,
about it.
always let us know. And of course, if other people watch or whatever, hey, if you have your list, put it in on the comments. Maybe we can see it later and bring it up next week and be like, hey, here's a little not background, but just a look back to last week. Here's what some of you guys said. We'd be happy to continue giving you
Yeah,
guys
absolutely.
shout outs because we love being able to have that interaction and talking with all you guys.
Yep. It's one reason why we do it. One of the biggest reasons.
That's right. So there are our top 5 underrated, overrated. Again, we would love to hear your thoughts. Are there other movies that you think are overrated? Are there some
us
movies
know.
you think are underrated? Or do you think some that we put on the list shouldn't be there? Or vice
Hey.
versa? Let us know. We would love to hear it.
Boom. Absolutely. So,
Yes.
well, have a great week. We'll be back next week,
Yeah.
same time, same channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Hey, and if you feel led, I hit my table here. Share
boy.
share the video. Share it with your friends so everybody can
Yep.
join us.
Don't forget to do that. Oh, before we head out, here we go. Katie, of course,
Rocket-
throws out here. Rocket Man.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
Katie, it
So-
was on the list, but collaboratively, whatever.
Hey,
Gary and I left
I
it
just
off,
haven't
but we
seen
love
it
Rocket
so
Man.
yeah, I haven't seen it in so long. I remember I got on
Yeah.
YouTube the other day and there's like a highlight reel of jokes from that movie and I was laying in bed watching it the other night just laughing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, not the Elton John Rocket Man, the
Yeah.
1996 whatever Rocket Man.
You know.
And then, Will says, have you guys seen the Midway movie?
I haven't.
I have. I actually own it. I enjoyed the Midway movie very much.
I
have
heard
you
it's
seen
really
it?
good. No, but I heard it's really good. Ross and Rachel here at the church told me that they went and saw it, so it's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. But I have. I did see it. You should watch it. I will.
Yeah.
I have it too. I can let you borrow that one.
I have some
So-
catch up to do on movies, sadly.
Yes.
That's one of them.
But that is a good one. Thanks, Will, for that one. That Midway, I think, also underrated. I will say that. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for being with us. We are glad to do this. Thanks for keeping it fun with us and light, making fun of us, agreeing with
Yes.
us, whatever. Man, we just love having a good time with you guys and talking movies
Yep.
because this is
That's
how
why we
movies
do
should
it.
be. Lots of fun.
That's why we do it. So.
All right, guys, we are going to be having a movie review for you guys on Friday. I was able to watch Just Mercy. Gary will watch it by then, hopefully.
I will
Come
watch
on,
it.
Gary. If not, he's going to listen to me talk. But
Yeah.
we'll be reviewing Just Mercy, which has been put out there on Fandango and AMC, like a lot of the streaming stuff for free. in light of everything that is happening. So we will be reviewing that movie and talking about it. And a lot of good stuff, Gary. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Cool.
But we'll just save that for Friday.
Look forward to watching it tonight.
All right. We'll see you guys Friday with our movie review of Just Mercy. And thanks again for being with us.
All right. See you
Guys,
guys.
have a great day.